It is exciting to be here today to give you AEW Revolution 2022 match card and predictions. Now, myself and Jonesy, my special guest, will be giving you predictions very shortly. But before we do, you need a match card. So without further ado, here it is. So we've got all that and more to look forward to. Plenty to discuss today, and I've got a very special guest joining me, as I said already, George from Jonesy Chats Wrestling. George, how are you doing? It's Revolution this Sunday.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me, Steve. Great to be back on your channel. Yeah, really looking forward to this. Yeah, I'm well excited for this pay-per-view. I'm feeling really excited already. I can't wait for Sunday to come.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at it, it's a stacked card from top to bottom. What matches really stand out to you?
I think the dog collar match, I just think it's going to be so gory and so violent, and it's just going to be kind of refreshing to see that kind of violence in 2022, to be fair.
It certainly is. Certainly is. And do you know what? I think actually it's one of the best told stories as well when there. And already in the house, we've got This Week in Metropolis saying, hey, Steve, and hey, George as well. James, hope you're doing well, my man. And hope you're looking forward to Revolution as well. Make sure to give us your predictions as we go through the show as well. But like I say, top to bottom, lots to look forward to. Dog collar match will be our main event segment of this video. Like I said, we've got a big match card to go through. And of course, with every good show, it starts with a buy-in. So let's kick things off by talking about, of course, Hook, Taz's son, going against QT Marshall, of course. And, well, Hook undefeated on Rampage, every match he's had so far. This is his first taste of pay-per-view. I have a feeling I'm going to keep straight to the cut to the chase of this one. Hook is winning. There's no two ways about it. He's gone through members, of course, of, his QT Marshall's factory as well. For me personally, it's Hook all day long for this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think Hook to win. This will be a sixth win on the trot. Yeah, this will be a clear-cut win. I think it's great to see him get that run on the pay-per-view, even if it's in the pre-show. So looking forward to seeing what happens here, but Hook to win all day long.
Absolutely. And just to say very, very quickly on it as well, what's been your impression of Hook so far? Because for me, he's been a real standout, and I think there's something special about him. A lot of people getting behind him.
I think he's got a lot of potential. I really like the whole submission element. And I think the fact he's Taz's son, I think that's a great throwback to the past. But no, yeah, really, really impressed me. I'd like to see him get a push, and I think he's going to be really over. He particularly could be 22's version of Jungle Boy, in my opinion. I think he's going to have a similar kind of build on slow rise, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, they're doing a great job of it so far as well, just slowly building up the pecking order. And you just feel with Hook as well. He's just got something special about him. I love his not caring this, the way he just sort of sticks his, arm on a turnbuckle and just looks like that. Doesn't even give the respect to his opponents. And you just look as well and think to yourself also with that entrance music. I think it's one of the best in the game at the moment.
Yeah, it is. I think it's really catchy.
It really, really is indeed. KXI is in house and says, what's up, Steve? Hope you're doing very well indeed. Make sure to give us your predictions for the show as well. And also, This Week in Metropolis saying Hook all day long. I think that, it's hard to look anything other than past Hook. I mean, QT Marshall, good to see him get an opportunity to get on pay-per-view. More exciting for Hook. I think, like I said, the future is very, very bright for Hook. But we've got another match on the buy-in to discuss as well, and that is going to be legit Layla Hirsch taking on Chris Statlander. Now, of course, these two were friends, but of course, Layla Hirsch has seemingly turned heel recently, not happy with a few losses. Of course, Chris Statlander has actually turned around and said as well that she's found legit Layla Hirsch's behavior childish. Even said that I believe was a line that was mentioned in this video that she was deserving to be adopted. A bit harsh and a bit close to the bone. But what do you think your thoughts with this feud? Most of it's been on Rampage, Dark and Dark Innovation. Not so much has seen the light of Dynamite. It seems suitable for the buy-in, but at the same time, it's good to see a ladies' feud as well. It's actually had time to develop.
It's great to see Chris Statlander back, sort of in a prominent role. But no, I've kind of enjoyed it. I think it's a good filler feud. I think they've done a really good job of building Layla Hirsch up. Obviously, she's been pretty solid on AEW Dark. She wins most of the time. But looking forward to seeing this match. We did have this match already kind of back in December at the Holiday Bash. Obviously, Chris Statlander came up with a win here, which is an interesting thing. The fact they've gone to another match, they're having a rematch and stuff. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. In terms of prediction, for me, I think Layla Hirsch has to win all this. She's been made to sort of look like kind of weak in parts of this. This is a big sort of payback for me. So I think Layla Hirsch will win it. I think she'll correct the run from December in this match.
I think you're right as well. I mean, of course, there is that feeling that Chris Statlander, it would be good to see, like, if you're going to push for her to go back into the title. has had the big change in character, the big change in gimmick, and she needs to get the momentum behind her if you're going to turn a heel. So I agree with you, Layla Hirsch to pick up the W in this one. Anything more you want to add before we go to the main show?
No, let's get to the main show, my friend.
Let's get to the main show indeed there. One question just before we do. James has asked a question. Do you think the winner goes on to the Women's Championship?
I think the winner ultimately will probably go... I think the winner ultimately will go into the TBS title. I don't think they'll go for the world title. I think the TBS title.
I think you could be right. I think the TBS title could be the destination for the winner of this match. It's going to be an exciting show nonetheless. And let's go on to the main card, shall we? And let's talk about what has got potential to be a blood match here. Jon Moxley against Bryan Danielson. The idea of these two having a faction together. But of course, Jon Moxley has said that before he teams with someone, he has to bleed with them first. We've seen Bryan Danielson go against the prodigies that could be amongst the ranks that he'd like to have with Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty as well. This for me is an exciting feud all over. I mean, Bryan Danielson showing he's got no code of honor this week as well, destroying Christopher Daniels, also a legend in his own right as well. What did you feel with these two? Do you reckon that Moxley and Danielson have got the potential to steal the show here?
It's going to be an incredible match. I just love the whole build of it. I love the whole thing of Daniel Bryan's new kind of attitude, if that makes sense, Bryan Danielson's new attitude even. And I think it's going to be a fantastic match. It's great to see Jon Moxley back on an AEW pay-per-view as well. I think that's going to be really refreshing to see. But yeah, first time we've seen this match since 2013. Can you believe it? But I can't remember the last time, but I'm so excited for this match.
I'm really excited for it as well. And to think as well that Jon Moxley has never beaten Bryan Danielson, made reference to that in one of his promos as well. Could this be the night that Moxley picks up the victory, or do you see Danielson actually coming away with the winner?
I think Moxley will win here. I think they want to sort of give Moxley some steam on his comeback, if that makes sense. I think obviously Danielson's done quite a few losses recently. Like he's lost to Adam Hangman Page a few times and stuff. But for me, yeah, I think Moxley's got to win here. And I think it's one of the things where they're obviously going to get bloody in this match as well. Clearly, it's going to be, although it's billed as a singles match, I could see them sort of making it a bit false count anywhere, like without proper rules.
Do you reckon that stipulation could be added last minute?
They should do that, really. Like I think this whole thing of getting bloody, I don't know how they're going to get bloody without chairs and weapons, if that makes sense, unless it's just going to be punches, which I don't know if that will happen, really.
It's always a possibility. It's always a possibility that actually, like you say, do it with physical headbutts or do it with punches and stuff like that. For me, it can go one or two ways, this match. I can see, like you say, Moxley picking up the victory and then sticking out that handshake, the code of honor, believe it or not, after last night, and actually join Danielson. Or I can see Danielson already has the stable in place and just leaves Moxley behind and has the backup of Daniel Garcia and Lee Moriarty. Would you like to see the idea of that stable coming together and leaving Moxley behind, or do you want to see Moxley a part of this?
I'd like to see Moxley be left behind. I think Moxley does his best work as a babyface. I think as a heel, fans want to cheer him. So as a heel, it's really kind of hard to push somebody that's naturally so more comfortable as a babyface for me personally. But yeah, I think for me, Bryan Danielson has to do his own thing.
Okay, interesting stuff indeed there. So for this then, just to give it as a final then, do you think that you said Moxley to go with a prediction, if I'm not mistaken, and so you think that stable could work on this night, or do you reckon that would be more impactful?
I think it would be more impactful sort of down the line or later on. I don't know if you heard that, Steve. So I said it would be more impactful down the line. I don't think they need to be the stable here. I think I'd like to see this just be a one-on-one match where it's clean who wins, if that makes sense. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be gruesome in parts. Might get some tables and stuff. But yeah, they've got to go with Jon Moxley to win it. I think if Bryan Danielson wins, I just don't really think it doesn't. Bryan Danielson doesn't need to win here, in my opinion. He's so over anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely will pick up the victory of this to give my prediction as well. I think Moxley will pick up the W, and like you say, I think that it'll be more impactful with that group joining further down the line. And something that could be, we could have an idea of a Johnny Gargano to be a better fit for this faction if he was to go to All Elite Wrestling. Great shout from KXI.
Yeah, what a dream. Imagine Johnny Gargano in the faction. It would be incredible to see. Yeah, he's a free agent, so it could happen. You never know.
We'll have to wait and see. Have this here as well from this week in Metropolis saying Danielson hasn't had many pay-per-view wins. That's true to this point. Obviously, he did win at Full Gear, if I'm not mistaken, in the number one contenders world title eliminator against Miro in the here, but we'll have to wait and see. James, let us know your prediction. Do you reckon that Danielson then gets that W here, or do you think that he'll be left behind and trying to find another when it comes around to double or nothing? KXI says, I honestly don't know who's going to ways, and to be honest, I agree. I think this does have the option to go both ways, but we've both gone for Jon Moxley. That's our way. And I'm not going to do my Justin Roberts impression, even though I'm very, very tempted to. But should we go to our next match?
Yes, let's do it.
Well, interestingly enough, you said this got the potential to be like a WrestleMania 17-like card. And of course, that also had the 6-man tag team match on it. Tornado Trios match here. Matt Hardy, Andrade El Idolo, and Isaiah Cassidy against TNT champion Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin. I'm looking forward to this one. I think it should be a lot of fun, especially with the tornado element of it. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I think it's great to 6-man tag on the pay-per-view. For me, the way it plays out, let's break it down into 2 parts. So you've got Andrade and you've got Matt Hardy and Cassidy on one side. The main star in that little part, probably for me, is Andrade. Andrade could do some fantastic work. When we look at the opposition, Sting's there obviously just for spots and stuff, probably just to sort of that big-time fill. Darby Allin's a spot machine and Sammy Guevara. But for me, I think the babyface team are winning all day long. I think there'll be a fracas that this will carry on from Rampage this week, where I think we're going to obviously get this freeway for the TNT title. I think that a lot of that's going to carry on, but for me, I can see the baby faces winning in terms of a pinfall. I think Sammy Guevara will get the pin, and I think it'll be on Isaiah Cassidy if I'm going to take a punt. That's what I reckon it'll finish.
I kind of agree with you. I see Cassidy taking the fall. I think the baby faces are picking up the win here. Do you think this will solidify the breakup between HFO and Matt Hardy, with Andrade turning on Hardy after the match? I can't see that going down.
Yeah, that's really, really logical. If you bear in mind that obviously potentially down the line, we're going to get Jeff Hardy in. I think the whole Hardy Boy thing, they don't need the HFO in the background. So, yeah, that makes total sense to me, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Have to see what happens. And KXI is saying that this match should not be on the card in his opinion. He actually feels like as well that Andrade and Darby should have been in the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Interesting stuff indeed. Of course, both of them will be going for the TNT Championship on Rampage. Maybe one of them is TNT champion going into this show. How do you see it playing out as well, by the way? Because obviously Sammy and Darby then will be on the same team. If Darby wins the title, does that add a bit of friction to the babyface team?
I like it. I can't see it. Like, it'd be great for Darby to get the belt because it would be good for him to have that rub. But for me, Darby, unfortunately, is treated as nothing more than Sting's lackey and sort of a spot machine, as I said earlier. But for me, I think no, I can't see it. I can't see Darby getting the belt. Sammy might get the belt back, but I think it's great where it is at the moment. I'd keep it on the current champion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if Sammy does retain the championship, then we'll see what it leads to. And obviously, it could play a big factor of who could win the ladder match as well, which makes me wonder if maybe Andrade should be possibly the option to actually win that title on Friday. But obviously, we're talking about Revolution. We'll keep it Revolution. We think the babyfaces will be going over, as does KXI. And Discus Lariat Collective as well, who was actually on the Q&A the other night. Go and check out that stream as well. Make sure to go and subscribe to him if you haven't already. Says, how's it going, lads? Hell of a card, that's for sure. Generally feels WrestleMania vibe. So well built. Good predictions so far. Thank you very much indeed. It does feel more WrestleMania than WrestleMania at this stage, would you say?
Yeah, 100%. Like, this is why you're a wrestling fan. Like me as a wrestling fan, as a historian, you want a well-built card from top to bottom. I wouldn't want to be putting this card together in match order. Like, there's so many good matches. And if this show goes 4 hours, it's going to be 4 hours well spent watching it. That's for sure.
I totally agree with you 100% there. I think that you're well on the money with saying that. And just from KXI, which I hope will come on the screen now, is Jay White on the card. Not at present. Nothing's been given at this point, but he will be a part of Impact Wrestling Sacrifice. Those predictions are already on the channel, and he'll be taking on Alex Shelley on that show. Of course, a mentor to Jay White as well, so that's why it has a bit of a dream match element. So do check those predictions out after you've checked out this stream if you get the opportunity. But let's go to our next match, and we speak about big matches, big vibes, well built. This one seems very well built in such quick time. Eddie Kingston going one-on-one with Chris Jericho, the influencer. Let's maybe not go with that tagline. I think I prefer his other ones. Mostly built via a conversation, not a promo segment, as Chris Jericho said, a conversation. Can Eddie Kingston win the big one? I think is where this comes down to. And where is the loyalty of Santana and Ortiz? Now, of course, they have been having friction with Chris Jericho, more siding with Eddie this past Wednesday and last night, in fact, on Dynamite, of course, for us at the time of recording. I wonder if they will be turning on Chris Jericho and joining Eddie Kingston at this pay-per-view. Can Eddie win the big one?
I like it. I like what you said about the turn. you've got to hope so. The whole thing of this whole match is the fact that Jericho will finally say he respects him and stuff like that. For me, Eddie hasn't had a match since January. This is his first pay-per-view in a long time, so great to see him back on the pay-per-view. But I reckon he has to kind of do it. And yes, I think Santana and Ortiz, based on AEW this week, they have to get involved in some way. I don't know whether that's in the finish or something like that. But for me, yeah, I think Eddie has to get the win here. Like, this is a guy that finally needs to get a big win. Giving the win to Jericho, despite Jericho's recent fantastic improvement, he's got into great conditioning. Like, he's really got into great condition. For me, I think Jericho doesn't need the win here. A win for Eddie will do so much more.
It certainly would. I mean, the only thing I would say with Eddie, obviously, the doubt has been seeded. That promo, and it truly was, that promo was something of epic proportions with them two back and forth. The seed was put in the mind, obviously, that Chris Jericho is the star, the main eventer, won all those titles. Eddie Kingston's been a jobber, someone that he didn't even know of. He thought it would be Eddie Edwards that was signed at the time, which was a genius, given out when they mentioned that. But for me, Eddie Kingston, the doubt was put in his mind. You could see his mind turning as well when he was told he can't win the big one. Do you reckon that can lead to also another interesting story coming out of the pay-per-view should Eddie Kingston not get that big win?
Potentially, it could make Eddie Kingston totally flip into a heel. Another interesting point, Steve, as well, is if Santana and Ortiz do get involved, maybe they double swerve Eddie, and then it's obviously a way of getting the inner circle back, but as more of a heel faction, that could be a way they do it. But I think for me, Eddie really as I said, he does need a win here. This is going to be a great match. I've loved the promos, I've loved the build, and I love the way they've got everyone to really want to get behind Eddie. I really want Eddie to win. Like, you really want him to finally do good, if that makes sense. But for me, it's going to be a great match. But I think Eddie has to get the win here. Jericho's obviously put over people such as Orange Cassidy before. He has to do the same here for Eddie Kingston.
I love a lot of what you've said there, and particularly the idea as well as if there was a double swerve with Santana Ortiz, because I mean there's so much where they could play a factor in this match. Just very quickly before to give my prediction on this, because when you see with Jericho's let them sort of do their own thing as of late, and they've been failing. They've been in the opportunity to get an tag title match twice, and they've not succeeded. Do you think that Jericho's right by saying that you need to be by my side?
Yeah, I think he's kind of right in that respect. Bear in mind that they weren't that established without Jericho. The Inner Circle has been such a pivotal role of AEW. It's probably one of the legacy stables in AEW, so I totally get that. And the thing with this is a Jericho that he's had his best years behind him, and I think really he needs to start putting people over. And this is the same Jericho that was able to beat people such as MJF back in September last year. You know what I mean? So this is a Jericho that's got all that momentum. He's had this break. He's back now. Unless they want to go to another series of matches after this, that's the only way I can think it. But for me, I think let's just get this match done. It's going to be fun to see. I've enjoyed the promos, but I would hope it ends here. But then Eddie has to get the win. It makes sense to the old storylines. Otherwise, it's one of the things where Jericho does turn, he screws him. It's probably going to just create more drama, and it'll be another series of matches, probably potentially.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to say I'm going to agree with you. I think Eddie Kingston will pick up the W. And I think that Jericho may be 2 members short after this. I do think championships, not for a while yet. As Tony Khan said on the conference call, it's more interesting when Kenny Omega comes back. But more trios in AEW is not a bad thing.
No, definitely not. It's great to see such a large roster of so many good wrestlers. They're just blessed with that. They're very lucky.
Absolutely, indeed. Let's get into the comments then. We've got Eddie Kingston for the win from James here. We've also got Non-Stop Wrestling Chat in the house as well. So it's awesome. See you guys with the predictions on this one. I think Eddie will get the win. Thank you as well for joining the stream. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so and Punk match surprises, no stipulation for this one, but Eddie needs the big win. And it's so true. It puts more of the perspective of those old matches, CM Punk and stuff. Can he finally do it? We're all thinking he will. We all think he will do so, but I think he will not do it clean. And that's how I think he'll get himself into the stratosphere. Jericho saying he'll give that respect if he does, but will he do so if he loses 2 teammates? That's a very interesting strategy. Let's go into a match though. Let's go into a match I think will be a bit shorter. We've got TBS Championship. Jay Cargill been undefeated, dominant against Tay Conti, of course, the jiu-jitsu expert. How do you see this one playing out, Jonesy? I can't see anything but a Jay Cargill win, but I do feel that Tay Conti is the most suitable challenger at this point.
Definitely. I think for me, Jade's obviously going to get the win. The win streak doesn't lose here, but I think it'll be a good match. I think they've done a great job of highlighting Tay Conti's karate background. I think that makes her look the most threat. She's going to push Jade Cargill to the limit. That she's going to get the near falls, but Jade has to win this. But I do think make a prediction later this year. Jade will drop the belt at some point, and it will be a wow factor when it happens. I think it's, but it's not here. I'm afraid. I think Jade definitely to win.
Interesting stuff indeed. Do you see a competitor out there that you think could be the one that could actually end Jade Cargill's run?
I'd quite like to see like Mercedes Martinez do it, because I really rate Mercedes Martinez. I think she's a great veteran journeywoman in wrestling. For me, she's got that great ability as well. But it depends. They're probably never going to book that. But that's me. What I'd personally like to see. Whenever it happens, though, it's got to be a big wow moment, if that makes sense. Because I remember the first time Goldberg lost, it was like, oh my god, he's just lost. You know what I mean? It's going to have to be that reaction. And but credit to Jade, she's improving all the time, and she's a fantastic TBS champion so far. I really kind of enjoyed her work.
Totally agree with you, mate. She is fantastic at what she does. And I do personally think that she's going places. Jade Cargill is working her way up the ladder, will eventually be at the top of the ladder. When she does lose it, it's going to be a wow factor. As KXI says here, surprised this is this match happening so early in her reign. Thought she was going to be the pick, but Jade for the win. Tay would have been my pick a long time ago to be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill, but it's not happening at this pay-per-view, that's for sure. I think Jamie eventually will do it when see Jamie Hayter be someone that could get that wow factor.
Yeah, she's really, really good. I know Jamie Hayter from she was part of a promotion that used to come where we live here in England, and she was fantastic live. Like her charisma and stuff, you've not really got a full flavour. She's so good on the mic, and her talent, she's fantastic. Former wrestler in progress and stuff like that. I think for me, she's somebody that could do it 100% down the line. I'm not too sure how the whole heel versus heel dynamic would work, but for me, it'll be a great match if it happens. It's definitely a good contender, 100%.
Absolutely, indeed. There were no cakes. So I just mentioned Jamie Hayter or Chris Statlander to dethrone Jade. So there's a couple of options in the hat there, but one thing is for sure, we think Jade is retaining. Be an interesting one to talk about. Championship coming up for us next. Now we've got the Lucha. We've got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, that's easy to say, against Red Dragon and Young Bucks here. Now, of course, the two teams that got involved have won some Battle Royals. Obviously, Red Dragon winning a traditional Battle Royale, and we've, of course, got the Young Bucks that won the Casino Battle Royale this past week. It seemed like it was a bit obvious that was the route that we're going to go down. But how do you feel with this three-way? Do you feel that Jungle Express have kind of almost been outside looking in on this, and they're the tag team champions? Do you feel they've kind of been a bit undermined on the build here?
Yeah, I'd say that. They've taken a back seat, but then obviously there's a long-term story arc going on. You can tell that the story arc between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks is there, and it's waiting for Kenny to come back. I think that's been pivotal in this, but I've not minded that. I think the fact that we're blessed in AEW, they've got so many good tag teams. It takes you back to the 90s in WWF, where you had the Hardy Boys, Edge, Christian, Dudley Boys. This roster, looking at that Battle Royal this week on Dynamite, there's just so many tag teams, and they're so good. And you look at it, there's not even FTR in this match. That's another tag team that are phenomenal. You know what I mean? This match, though, it's going to be fantastic. Could be probably one of the tag team matches of the year for me. I think on paper, it's mouthwatering, and seeing the whole goodness of Kyle O'Reilly now in AEW, I think it's always nice to see, really, seeing Kyle O'Reilly do stuff, and I'm a massive fan of him. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this match, mate. It's going to be great.
I think it's going to be great as well. And I actually think this could be the best tag team match since Revolution 2 years ago with the Bucks against Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. And KXI also goes on to say that go with it here. I mean, to give my sort of take and prediction on this match, obviously, I think the two other teams, like you said, the biggest story is Red Dragon and Young Bucks. I think that their future leads to trios championship matches rather than tag titles. Therefore, I think that Jungle Express are going to be the ones that will retain here. But like we say, I do believe it's going to be a phenomenal match.
Yeah, definitely. I think for a prediction for me, very similar to you, Steve. I'm going to go Jungle Express to win. I think the other two teams will take each other out, which will lead to further tension between them both. And yeah, for me, I think it's just going to be great. Like I think like both the teams will start teaming like during the start of this match. They'll then quabble over pinfalls, and somehow or another, the champions Jungle Boy will get the pin somehow. But yeah, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing this. And I think for me, really looking forward to seeing where it leads. More importantly, who's going to be next for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus?
Do you reckon that I went to say Lucha Bros a minute ago? Do you actually reckon that they could?
Oh, sorry, Steve, you broke up. So, did you talk about the Lucha Brothers? Did you say, do I think they're going to turn up? Is that what you said? Sorry.
I wonder if they'll be the next challengers when Rain Phoenix is good to go, and they.
Yeah, potentially they could be, or I would say I think FTR. Like FTR to me, like they're a ready-made tag team. they've got such a choice in that in AEW who they choose. But Lucha Brothers would be good. Obviously, Lucha Brothers are the ones that dropped the belt back in January, so it makes sense for them to get that rematch clause. So probably maybe, but even match will be good. I'd love to see even match.
Absolutely, indeed. There. Well, so let's move on to our next match then on the card, and this one is going to be the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Of course, the winner gets a shot at the TNT Championship. We've got Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, Keith Lee is All Elite. We've got Team Taz as well, with Powerhouse Hobbs, and of course Ricky Starks, the FTW champion, and of course the winner of the qualifying match between Ethan Page and Christian Cage will also complete the lineup. So it looks like we're going to have. So the first question I've got for you is going to be joining in the ladder match. I think Christian Cage.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a parrot. Yeah, you read my mind. Christian Cage, he's a great pioneer of ladder matches. He will put the match together perfectly as well. So it has to be Christian Cage. And he's doing nothing else on the pay-per-view. So Christian Cage is joining the match 100%. I think that's sensible.
Absolutely, indeed. There. Also, I have to ask quickly about our good friend Wardlow, because he was a strong pick for me to potentially win this match. But obviously, looking at how things have been playing out, especially this week on Dynamite, of course, he said his job is to make sure that MJF wins matches, but he will be allowed to keep the TNT title if he wins, but he's not going to win the match anyway. Do you feel that there's a potential that this could be where the Pinnacle could first have it split and maybe Wardlow is turned on in the match, or do you reckon that they'll allow Wardlow to just go and do his own thing?
It depends on what they want to do with MJF. If they want to go to this MJF Wardlow split, that's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point this year. It has to. Then yes, maybe he won't win the belt. But if he doesn't, if he does obviously want to win the belt and stuff, and he's going to do something else, fine. I could see taking place is you got Wardlow climbing up the ladder, then Sean Spears comes out and hits him with a chair or something. That would kind of make sense. MJF isn't going to do his dirty work in this match, that's for sure. He's not going to do dirty work. So for me, it's just down to where they want to place the feud, really. If they want to go to it next, then yes, Wardlow isn't winning this match. But if it's going to be later this year, then Wardlow having the belt isn't a bad idea in the interim either. He's been built so well.
He has been booked so well. And I think he'd be a great TNT champion as well. Like you say, I think Sean Spears will be the one with a chair. I think you're right if someone's going to do it. Let's go through as well some of the other competitors. Obviously, I want to talk about Keith Lee last. So let's go through Orange Cassidy. What's his chances in this match? Do you give it a thumb up or do you give it a thumb down?
He's there for kind of comedy. It's a thumb down. He'll have his spot where say for example the ladder's there, the title's there, and instead of climbing up the ladder, you're shouting at TV, climb up the ladder. He'll just be there posing. And it that's what he'll do probably. He's just that type of character. He's so relaxed.
I think you're right. I think it's thumb down for him all the way. And obviously with Team Taz, we've got Powerhouse Hobbs and we've got Ricky Starks. Do we see them? Obviously, I'm guessing they'll work together for the majority of the match, but perhaps we'll just fall a little bit short at the end potentially. Or do you reckon that this teamwork could work? Adds a different layer to this match.
Yeah, it could work potentially, but for me, no. I just think Powerhouse Hobbs is just there to make up numbers. So it's a thumbs down for me. I could see them doing something with him and Keith Lee at some point. I could see this being a match down the line, and this will be the place to build it in some parts.
Absolutely. It does seem to be the direction they're talking about, obviously, with them two. Keith Lee, because, I mean, Keith Lee's coming, he's All Elite, and obviously he's going to be seen as a big-time deal. If he was to lose this match, would that harm his credibility very quickly on in his own AEW days, or can he afford a loss?
He can afford a loss. He's not getting pinned here, let's be fair. So it's not going to get pinned here. He can afford the loss. And yeah, I think for me, like, he doesn't need the shot. He's coming sort of really over anyway. Him getting the shot for the title doesn't really do much. So yeah, him losing it doesn't really harm him. So I would be a fan of him making a presence here, making his presence known, but not quite getting the job done.
Interesting stuff. I mean, Cage or Ethan Page that joins the mix, if Cage or Page are in the match, does either of them win it, or do you just see them just being another bit part player?
They're just bit part player. Like either one will be a bit part player. I think Cage is the one, as we said earlier. I think will be in it. I think he's there just to do some spots. I'm being honest. I think he's known for doing spots in ladder matches, isn't he?
Absolutely, indeed. There. So this comes down to where it's near prediction time. But just before we do, is there a Joker in the match? Not to my understanding. Would you like to see a last-minute Joker added?
It would be fun if they did it, but no, I don't think they need it. It's quite stacked already, isn't it?
It is quite stacked already. I think 6 probably could be plenty. We'll have to wait and see how it will play out. But to give a prediction, how do you see it going?
In terms of prediction for me, I think the winner here, I'm going to go for, I think Wardlow will win the match. That's my prediction.
Interesting shout, because Wardlow has been my pick for the longest time, but I don't know. There just seems to be something, and I just think maybe they may go with Keith Lee. So I'm gonna have, I think, one of our first.
Yeah, I think it's great to see we've finally gone something different. We're not repeating each other, so that's fine. Yeah, good luck on the prediction. Keith Lee wins, mate. I'm going to be happy either way. Like if Keith Lee wins, I think I'm not going to be not going to be unhappy at all.
I've got to say as well, feel exactly the same with Wardlow if he was to pick up the win, because I do think he would be phenomenal as TNT champion. Whoever wins this championship wins this match. Do you see them as potential future TNT champion?
Yeah. I could see him as future TNT champion if that's the level he's going to be. Like, obviously, he's not coming at the top, has he? Which is kind of sensible, to be fair. That top towards the world title is stats. So, as long as he's used right, that's all I cry out for in AEW, for him to be used right.
Absolutely, indeed. I totally agree with that. James says that he can't wait to see what happens with Wardlow. Neither can we. If he's powerbombing people on ladders, is he going to be attacked? Be holding a big sonic circle at the end of the night. We'll have to wait and see what will go down. KXO was saying that I don't know who's winning, but kind of disappointed with the participants. Interesting. See Jonesy with this lineup, or are you happy with it?
Yeah, I'm happy. Like it's only the TNT title, it isn't for a main title, if that makes sense. It's not for a main title. It isn't something that's that important overall. So yeah, I'm not really displeased. I think if you take it away, just sort of the fact there's a shot on the title here, it's going to be in ring. The amount of talent they've got there, it's going to be memorable. That's for sure.
Absolutely, indeed. Here and Underground in-house as well, saying Christian Cage versus Ethan Page on Rampage. Will it be in a solid steel cage this Friday? Only if there's a special referee in Diamond Dallas Page, my friend. But no, it certainly is going to be a lot of fun to see how it is going to play out. And we've got Shahid as well in the comments. Thank you very much for checking out the stream, asking about the Women's Championship. And I'll tell you what, he's timed it pretty well, because I'll tell you what, it's our next match. That's right, AEW Women's World Championship. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, taking on Thunder Rosa. This is a match that, of course, goes all the way back to St. Patrick's Day last year. Of course, the lights out match that arguably put both women on the map and obviously started the surge for Britt Baker to become world champion for the women's side. Of course, has held that title for 9 months now. This is the question I'm going to ask first off. Have they held off this match for a bit too long? And now it gets to the point we're getting the match. It feels a little bit rushed.
Yeah, I think that's a good analysis. I think the thing with it ultimately is Britt Baker doesn't have a lot of challenges available, ready for made challenges. So for me, they have held it off, but they've done a great job of rebuilding this in recent weeks. I'm excited for this match. I think it's got genuine interest, and I think it's really open who can win, which makes it's refreshing to see that in a match.
Absolutely. And Thunder Rosa seems to have Britt Baker's number, winning on the tag team match this past week on Dynamite. Also, like we said, won the lights out match before. Could this be playing to the story of the match as we get to our result?
Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that obviously she's got this momentum on her, it makes her look like a really credible challenger. And I think the thing for me, Thunder Rosa, obviously, we know how great she is. This woman is fantastic in the ring. She's obviously beat Mercedes Martinez twice and stuff like that, which is obviously pretty good. And I think the booking of her this year, obviously, since she previously lost to Jake Cargill at the end of last year, I think they've booked her so well. Like Thunder Rosa obviously hasn't lost a match this year. That's what you want to do with your number one contender. You want to build them strong. And it's really open. It's really hard to put a prediction out there.
It really, really is hard to put the prediction out there. The only thing is, I'm going to say now, I thought Thunder Rosa was winning this championship for the last few months, but that she would win it at this show. But the fact that now we've had this sort of rushed build a little bit for me, and she won on Dynamite, it's almost that thing of like, when like they win before the show, can they do it on Sunday? Usually they don't. So I'm starting to believe that Britt Baker may actually be retaining the championship here.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think the way that they've give that Thunder Rosa such momentum, obviously getting the win for this week, as you said, on Dynamite and stuff like that. For me, I think Britt really probably is going to win here. I don't think the time is right for Britt to drop the belt. If you are going to do that and Thunder Rosa wins, look for them to do Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter. I think that's the next natural feud because Britt will blame them for the loss, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thought this is how I felt also, was that Britt Baker has enough storylines going on elsewhere in the card that she actually almost doesn't need the championship at this point. But the question I would ask you then is saying, if Thunder Rosa was to take that championship, how she has been booked, you could argue and say is not been, she's been in and out of storylines on Dynamite and Rampage. Do you think that'll give her a real creditable championship run and, filled with good storylines if she was to win the belt?
Yeah, it would do. I think the finish, she's so good. She's fantastic in ring and stuff like that. So it would be great to see her get that payoff. And I think as long as they gave her decent opponents, the thing is, if you said to me who's she going to face next, I'd really struggle. I can't really give you sort of somebody that I think is credible at this point. The only way I can look at it is maybe eventually we'll get a champion versus champion match at some point, maybe down the line potentially. That's something they could do. But for me, I'm going to put my neck on the line. I think Britt Baker to win. Thunder Rosa is going to push her. She's going to push her further than anything she's had so far with Britt Baker. But yeah, I just don't see him changing the belt here for me.
I'm going to agree with you, and here's my reasoning why. I think that it's too soon for the belt to change. I still think Thunder Rosa will win it, but I think it will happen at Double or Nothing. That's going to be my prediction for that. So it's early doors saying that, but we'll see how it will play out. But like you said there's so much potential they could do with this. So let's see where it leads to. KXI saying that Thunder Rosa is definitely winning. So going against our predictions at this point. Underground has gone a bit ROH talk. If we've got time, we'll go into a bit more depth of it, but we'll just read the comments for now. With Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor, I can see the Briscoes and FTR happening at the first Ring of Honor show for the ROH Tag Team Championships. I do agree with that comment, by the way. And also with Ring of Honor, I see them having Cody Rhodes involved, signing Cesaro and Johnny Gargano to Ring of Honor contracts, in AEW having those two names to start the new era, and that will be a great get. They do sound great ideas, great suggestions. If we've got time at the end of the stream. But Josie, is there anything more you'd like to add with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker before we move on?
No, nothing to add, mate.
Well, let's move on then, shall we? And we're going to be talking about then the AEW World Championship for us next now. That's right, the champion Hangman Adam Page defending against Adam Cole, baby. That's right. The question that goes into this match, it's the battle of the two Adams. And of course, Adam Cole has always said that when he's been in the promotion, Page has just been known as the other Adam. Is that going to be the case at Revolutionary? They've been building up to this quite well. I like that they seem to know each other really, really well. Of course, their time in Bullet Club together. A lot of counter wrestling done on Dynamite in the six-man tag this week. Like the way that it sort of closed off the show as well, with him being tied up to the ring ropes as well. They've done quite well with building this feud.
Yeah, I think they've done really, really well. I think they've made it. This is a great placeholder feud for me. I think it's done really, really well, and I really think they've done a good job of building Adam Cole up. Although he's had that one loss in the lights out match the other week, I just think this is going to be fun. From an in-ring perspective, this is going to be your main event. They confirmed that today, so I just think we've got loads of violence and other matches that are on the card that are going to be violent. This is going to be a technical masterclass, so I'm really excited for it. I hope that they get a decent amount of time, but I do think Adam Cole's going to push Adam Page really, really far. I don't think he's going to get the win, if I've been honest. So I'm going to give you a prediction now. I think Hangman Page to retain. Hangman Page has not had the belt very long. So I think Hangman Page to win here, and then he'll go on to somebody else, which I'll say later.
Interesting stuff indeed. To be honest, I'm going to give my prediction early for this one as well. We can still talk more about the match, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Hangman Adam Page retains here against Adam Cole. Adam Cole wasn't really won a lot of the big feuds so far. Of course, he lost at Full Gear, of course, in the six-man tag team match, or the trios match, we should say. And as well as that Orange Cassidy of Adam Cole's booking up to now in AEW. Do you hold that same, criticism, or do you think it's been booked fine?
Yeah, I think he's been booked okay. I think the thing is with it is Adam Cole, obviously, he's been placed in a really interesting spot with the whole Young Buck thing that's going on as well. And yeah, I just think he's good. He's a good, arrogant champion, I think, or a good, arrogant challenger even. I think he's been really, really good. And you look at Adam Page. This is an Adam Page that's obviously he finally beat Kenny Omega to get the belt, which was a great feel-good story. He's then gone and beat Bryan Danielson, which was them matches were phenomenal. His match against Lance Archer the other week was superb as well, back in February. And for me, I'm just excited for this match. I just think it's going to be fun. Even if the winner is clear-cut, it's still going to be great how they get there. It would not surprise me. We get this match done, and then somebody steps out. A new acquisition comes out after at the end of the match. So that wouldn't surprise me.
Interesting. Do I ask that question now, or do I ask that question later?
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do, my friend. You can ask now, or you can ask later.
Will it be? Well, here's the question: with a yes or no. Is it one of the two people left with the one match we've got to discuss?
No. It isn't, unless they want to move something forward. Because the way I figured it out is Hangman Adam Page has got one of two contenders that I think can challenge, like somebody brand new that can come in, and there's somebody else that's ready-made as well now. But it's down to what they want to do. But I won't tell you the other ready-made one is because it's another prediction. I can tell the other one is if you want to know now.
Go for it. Give us what predictions you want to. That's what I said.
Okay,
the floor is yours.
So if they want to create a big talking point, he's a free agent. Claudio Casaneri, aka Cesaro, he's available. Tony Khan on his press conference this yesterday was really speaking highly of him. He says he really kind of wants him. So this is a place to bring him in. Like, I think bring him in. Cesaro versus Hangman Adam Page. It's a money match. And it sort of delays another match that's going to happen probably late this year, which I can tell you later if you need that. If that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah, totally indeed. I would like to see Cesaro in that position. That would be a very interesting way to bring him in. We mentioned him being a free agent. Do you think his destination is All Elite?
They've got a stacked roster that's huge. He'll be just another person potentially in there. But really, he's going to go where he's going to get most limelight and the most money, and it's got to be AEW. I can't see Impact Wrestling being able to afford him. I don't know what the financial status is. He's too big for Impact Wrestling, in my opinion. He's going to be a huge acquisition wherever he goes. I would agree. Let's be clear. This isn't a guy WWE have released. This is a guy that they kind of made overtures to keep, and he's chose to go. So for me, he's the nearly man. He's done some fantastic work last year in WWE. We've got another subject, but I'm just hoping his time in AEW, if he does go AEW, he's going to be booked better long term.
I would hope so as well, because it would be a shame for him to go then get lost in the shuffle there as well, because he, like you say, he's a phenomenal athlete. There's no.
And can I put one last thing as well, Steve? Sorry to interrupt you. He's also a former Ring of Honor talent as well, which will fit nicely with everything else that's going on.
Absolutely, indeed. There, and like you say, there with the purchase, Underground says here with the purchase of Ring of Honor, you can see guys aren't getting TV time, and people like Brian Cage and others, like you say, that could be a good way to use them as well. Underground liking that shout there. Wait, CM Punk versus MJF is main eventing. Well, it seems Jones has confirmed there that it's not. So it'll be Hangman versus Cole.
Yeah, it's Hangman and Cole. That's the last match. 100%.
That is going to be the last match. It's just the main event of our stream today. Underground says Britt Baker loses to Thunder Rosa and challenges Deonna Purrazzo for the ROH Women's Championship. We've got that ROH vibe going on with Underground today. Very excited. Would that be something you'd like to see?
Yes, please. Someone answer this in the comments, or even you answer it, Steve. How the hell is Deonna Purrazzo not in AEW already? The roster is so short of women. It's the one part of the roster that's short, and she's the greatest probably women's wrestler I think in wrestling today. I think she's so good. I'd be a fan of that. Please, Tony Khan, you've got all the millions. Make it happen. I know she's got the Impact contract, but I'm sure there's some way of making it happen.
Well, I mean, unless she's bought out of a contract or maybe it expires later this year. I must admit, Deonna Purrazzo is someone that I'm a big fan of, and I could see her in AEW when that contract does expire from Impact, but we'll have to wait and see if and when that happens. We've got KXI saying Hangman is winning, and also we've got Two Adams, don't make an Eve. Loving that. That's a great comment. Well done, that's Underground, brilliant on that one there. And as well, we've got a couple other ones flying in as well. That could be cool. Cesaro just steamrolling through the roster to get into Hangman. Interesting stuff indeed. And I would say that would be fascinating. Kenny Omega costs Adam Cole and Hangman Page retains. Would you like to see this being a place where Kenny Omega returns to stop Adam Cole?
Yes, that'd be fantastic. I think, that is a great shout. It's going to happen eventually. They've got to do this Kenny Omega and Adam Cole fighting for power feud at some point. Why not? I know that Kenny Omega, as far as I'm aware, is not cleared to wrestle at the moment. He's due back imminently, but I'd love to see it, but I just can't see it yet. Maybe later in the year. Absolutely. Later in the year, I'm going to go with. I'm not sure if it's going to be by Revolution, but definitely. This is a match to look forward to some point in this year. Just before we move on to the main event, we've actually been asked as well, will we see Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter match in the future in Dynamite? I'm pretty sure we will. Yeah, we should do. Both are fantastic talents. I can't see why not. I can't see why not either. I'm sure that could be something even as near as Dynamite next week. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. But let's move on then to one more match to discuss then. And let's talk about CM Punk versus MJF, the dog collar match. Now, I'm going to be honest, straight off the bat, Jonesy, this might be my favorite feud in wrestling for well over a decade. I feel for me, this has been top to bottom perfection, near enough. We've had these two on the mic against one another, going head to head, and they've said some inner truths on both of them. We've had where CM Punk has gone through the pinnacle, whether it's been in one-on-one matches, 6-man. MJF beat CM Punk in his hometown in a daring move by doing it twice, cheating to win also on both occasions. We've then had, which has been a bold turn of MJF opening up about his, issues at school and stuff like how CM Punk was his hero, how CM Punk let him down by walking away, where CM Punk this week said, I look in the mirror and ask, am I the bad guy? Am I that bad guy? Of course, while wearing the brand new Bryan Danielson t-shirt as well, that nice pure white tee, perfect for blood, by the way. MJF coming to the ringside, and we see these two
hug it out in that sort of, rather than having that code of honor handshake, it was the big hug to the point there where it was a kick to the groin. And we see the real true side here of MJF. Of course, the others coming down, busting CM Punk open with a dynamite diamond ring, also using that dog collar to hang him over the top rope as well. Brutal looking spot as well, brutal for television, great with the white tee as well, of course, selling the blood also. And of course, MJF using that blood to wipe across the t-shirt that he was wearing of the photo, being a child with CM Punk. For me, this has been great from start to finish. I've loved every moment. What's been your feelings of this feud?
Phenomenal. Really crosses the line between wrestling and a movie. Like, the storyline is a movie worthy. I think, as I said to you off stream last week, MJF's promos, this guy is the greatest talker in wrestling today. This guy is going to be going into movies eventually. You can see it. He's just so good. I love the storytelling. The fact they've gone back to the past, I really like it. And the booking of MJF this week on Diary Right, how they've got people to then start hating him again, I think it's just genius. Because obviously last week he was put so strong to look to be a babyface that you wouldn't boo. You now want to boo him because of the way he is. But really enjoyed the feud. I think it's been fantastic. This is a big time match for me. This is the biggest match of the year so far in 2022. I think it's huge. This match is an absolute huge match. And then you put in the dog collar element. This is a 90s sort of gimmick, which we're seeing now. And in 2022, it feels like so long since I've seen a dog collar match. So I'm so excited for this. It's going to be excellent.
Yeah, the stipulation should really add to the match as well. And of course, it should be another match that it promises violence, it promises blood, it promises everything, and it feels like we're getting to that final third act here with these two here. Do you reckon this is going to be the closure of this feud?
Yeah, it has to be. The thing is, I don't think you want to go to another month. Like, I just think it's they've done so much already. Obviously, we had that singles match where MJF did beat CM Punk, which was a big shock. These are two of the most protected people in AEW as well. You look at CM Punk, since he's come back, he's only ever lost one match. That was MJF. MJF doesn't really lose matches. That's the thing. MJF is well protected. He's been on this fantastic win run. And the way they've got to his storyline, by the way of MJF basically putting CM Punk away by making him face people like sort of like Sean Spears and Wardlow and stuff. It's been really slowly built. But for me, I'm excited for this. There's going to be a lot of blood in this match. And really, really can't wait for it. Feels huge.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I have another question for you, Jonesy. Obviously, some people felt that CM Punk was sort of, a bit on a reunion tour when he came back. Is this the feud here that sort of brings CM Punk truly back to the dance?
Yeah, I think this has to be, because obviously you bear in mind CM Punk, obviously before this he was kind of just sort of stuck beating people such as Daniel Garcia and other people like that. So for me, I think this is a match that brings him back to the dance. This is obviously a huge match. CM Punk is so good, but the fact we've got two of the greatest talkers in wrestling in this program, it takes you back to Hulk. Takes you back to Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. Takes you back to Rock versus Austin. I'm feeling that vibes about this match.
It really does feel that important. I would agree with you. Yeah. I feel it's on that level here. And I agree. I think CM Punk is back in the dance now. And it's another thing when I'm going to say the answer is yes for my opinion before I ask you the question. But this takes MJF surely to another level up. He's always been the dastardly heel, probably the best talker in the company, one of the best heels. But this now, you put him to the point now where this guy could just instantly be your world champion, face of the promotion, dastardly hating from this point onwards. MJF has now got to be on another level. He's almost too big for most of the roster at this point. He's one of the main attractions.
He is. For me, I put him out there. He is AEW's answer to Roman Reigns. He's that level in AEW, if that makes sense. He's the one that he's good enough to be champion at any time. He's got the charisma. If you look at this guy's got such belief in himself. Like, he came out, there's an interview he's done recently, Steve. I don't know if he's aware of this. He did an interview yesterday, I think it was, where he said that he knows in 4 years' time or 2 years' time when his contract ends that he's going to be the highest paid wrestler in wrestling. He knows that the WWE are going to bid for him and stuff like that. This guy's just got such belief, and his character's so good. Like, it's so rare in 2022 to see a character that is protected as well as MJF. It's basically a flashback really to how they used to protect The Undertaker. It's the same thing. You never see MJF out of character ever. Even if you meet him, he's never out of character, which is it's great to see.
Absolutely. Even when kids are around him, he finds it hard sometimes, but he finds a way to remain in character, and he does it well where he can do it where it works as well. But the thing is like the other question I've got to ask, that you mentioned in the bidding war of 2024, like he said that's something that's in his future. Would AEW be clever then to put the world title on him in 2022, regardless of what happens here at Revolution? Because obviously if you get to the point where it's getting close, where that contract will be coming up, wouldn't he be more tempted to go to the other side, or does it just raise his stock value even higher if he wins that title now?
I think they should do it. Sort of, this is the year to do it. He was the other one I was going to talk about. MJF for me, really, this match for me is a number one contenders match. It's not named that, but it is a number one contenders match. Whoever wins this match, if we're not going to get Cesaro coming, this is the one that you're going to get next for Adam Page, I think, in essence. So, and for me, MJF is going to be your next AEW World Champion. He's going to be the one that I think eventually does beat Hangman Page. And I just think, give the belt to MJF. He's ready. Hangman Page is he's fun. He's a fun babyface, but MJF with a world title is going to be unbearable. And I just think it's going to be so good. I think it's going to be really, really good. And this could be a guy that keeps the belt like Roman Reigns. Just keeps the belt. He keeps winning somehow. And yeah, just make it happen. I hope this year at some point. He's ready. He's been ready for a while. The way they protected him, the way he doesn't lose matches, it's got to happen, mate.
It has got to happen at some point. I would do it in 2022. The last question I got to ask is you've sort of got your prediction there. If M put him in that position, does it hurt him at this point?
Sorry, Steve, you broke up. Sorry, could you just repeat, please?
I can indeed. I just said there, it gathered that MJF would be technically your prediction, I'm guessing, for this match. But
he is my prediction.
Does it harm him if he loses? Does he need to win it? Could he still go for the title even if he lost?
He could still go for the title if he loses. It depends on what they want to do. Obviously, the way that MJF was so dominant this week on Dynamite, CM Punk has got to get some sort of momentum in this feud. Ultimately, CM Punk, he lost the last singles match to him. He obviously needs to arrive, as you said, so this may be the place. But for me, it's down to what they do. Perhaps if MJF does lose, he could be even more annoying, like in the way he comes back to try and get back to here. But for me, CM Punk's a legend. And imagine what it's going to do for MJF getting another win over CM Punk. It's going to put him even that much higher.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I mean, he's had those wins already. I'm really torn on this one. I can see arguments for both sides either way, but it's prediction time. I can't sit on the fence anymore. I've got to jump straight off of it for one side or the other. And I'm going to predict that I think CM Punk's going to win this. And my reasoning for it is because I think that MJF and problems, we said Wardlow may get cost earlier in the evening. If this match is early in the card, maybe MJF's loss could cause those problems where Spears puts the chair on Wardlow's back. So, I mean, that's why I'm going to say that. And I think if Hangman Adam Page beats CM Punk, then MJF beats Hangman Page later down the line, say double or nothing. I think we're looking then at an idea there where I think everyone can still come out looking really, really strong and really, really good. But it's hard to predict. But yeah, I'm going to have to go the other side. I can't copy you, so I'm going to go for CM Punk. But certainly, I can see your arguments. I think MJF definitely will be the next AEW World Champion. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
I really like what you said. I really agree with your points. I think the thing with it is if what happens is what you said, I totally recommend that this is the place you then go to MJF Wardlow. That's got to happen as well at some point, and it's probably got to happen before MJF gets the world title. So potentially that could be a reason why CM Punk wins. Because blatantly, if CM Punk does win this, Wardlow's going to be to blame. He's going to be the one that takes that feud that much higher, if that makes sense. Because there's obviously hatred every single week at the moment.
It does. It seems like it's going there. It's not going to be MJF the champion and then Wardlow breaks away. It's going to happen before it feels. So, yeah, interesting stuff of where it would lead to. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss just before we close off the with AEW Revolution? I mean, obviously, it's looking like a very exciting show. Yeah,
I think as I've been saying to you off there, this is definitely WrestleMania 17 for us now. At this point, this is the closest we're going to get to WrestleMania 17 probably in 2022. In terms of level of show, this show is an absolute huge show. I'm really excited, and this potentially has got the capability to be the best pay-per-view AEW have ever done.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. It's got that capability of being there, and definitely one of the best AEW shows ever. I mean, All Out has been seen as one of the best shows in the last 20 years, and obviously we think this one has the ability to match it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just got a bit of everything. You've just got every single match, like on the main show, is important. Like if you look at every single match, I wouldn't want to be the one that has to put the card together in some sort of order. I don't envy Tony Khan having to try and work out where it's all going to go and stuff because I just think it's going to be fantastic. I think this is a pay-per-view for once. They need to do a 4-hour pay-per-view. Like this has to be a 4-hour pay-per-view to give each match enough time. I hope it's not going to be a rush pay-per-view, to be honest. That's the last thing.
I would hope it wouldn't be either. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Just before we close off, then I will ask you the question to get your take on, of course, the news from last night. Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor. A lot of potential, a lot of excitement that could come from this.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting move. If you look at like this, potentially they could go back to a lot of the wrestlers that are under AEW contract started in Ring of Honor. So there's a lot of potential flashback. I quite like the press conference that Tony did last night with the whole thing of the Shane McMahon comment was comedy. I'd love it if Shane McMahon walked out. That would be really hilarious. But no, it's good. I think it's exciting. interested to see whether this is going to be NXT for AEW, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is another territory where you can get talent coming through, and how this affects AEW Dark and Elevation in some capacity, because that's kind of that at the moment.
Absolutely. I was going to actually make that point because a lot of talent that can't get on those shows, maybe they can do some crossovers where they can have some ROH talents on AEW, and they can do where AEW talent goes to Ring of Honor. And obviously those Dark and Dark of Elevation talents may get a chance to get some breakup moments with a Ring of Honor roster.
Yeah, I agree. I think the interesting point is much like when WWE bought WCW in that respect. Obviously, this isn't coming with a TV deal as far as we're aware. So ROH aren't going to have a TV deal. Does this lead to potentially an online platform for them to have shows, or are they just going to be doing house shows? That's going to be kind of the thing. And maybe later this year we will get that Ring of Honor versus AEW storyline. If they do it, it could be fantastic. I don't know how that fits with the whole Honor No More thing that's going on in TNA either. But I'm excited to see it, and I think yeah, this is just great that ROH is still going to have still going to be around, because they've obviously such a good historic promotion.
They absolutely are. They've done so much for the business in the last 20 or so years. And wouldn't it be just amazing if they did like an ROH invasion, and then they think they've got people watching their backs, and the likes of CM Punk and Bryan Danielson turn and join Ring of Honor?
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. It'll be something they've got to do, and I think they're just really clever. Like, I like the way that on Dynamite this week we had that whole Bryan Danielson and Chris Daniels match, and you've got an ROH referee there. They're just small intricacies are just done so well, and I think if anybody's going to do an invasion angle, AEW, I trust them to do it, because they've really got the fans at heart. I think ultimately you can see that it's run by a fan ultimately, and it's just so enjoyable to watch week on week.
It certainly is indeed. The only last question I'm going to ask on it then is, do you feel a little bit that obviously Tony Khan has had so much investment with AEW, so much time on that? Is it going to be a little bit too much to balance Ring of Honor as well? Will we see both products suffer if he takes too much on?
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think obviously most bookers have only got a set sort of shelf life in terms of how they can last. They go out, but for me, he's got to give some responsibility to somebody else. Are you going to get somebody like a Gabe Sapolsky to come back and maybe take that over a little bit? And is ROH just going to be somewhere where you just basically use to try and sell house shows? That's going to be kind of the thing. I hope that Tony has somebody that can help him with this. It's too much. But if you look at it like this, he has got people such as Jim Ross that have had years in the business even. He's had quite a prominent role in WWE. Other than a commentator, he was there as a road agent with talent and stuff. Tony really has to go out and get the best available really to sort of help with ROH really if he wants to do it. I just really hope that this doesn't take away from the quality of AEW, because obviously the more he has on his plate. Remember back in the day when WCW got Thunder and on top of Nitro, it was too much. We just got to hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will, but I just hope that doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't either. And that's a very good point you make there with WCW and Thunder, and obviously going Nitro to 3 hours at the time as well. It's a lot heavier, especially watching it at the moment on the network. It's so heavy to do that. So, yeah, let's hope it will work out. Let's hope it will be fine. But, yeah, fingers crossed, all will be good. And this will be a very bright spark for the wrestling business. More places for people to work. Hopefully they get a television deal. And, of course, that tape library. Let's not forget that. All In is now at home with Tony Khan. Maybe the show can go back to being All In.
Yeah, maybe. If I may ask you, Steve, what did you think of the announcement? Were you shocked? And what was your general reaction?
I was expecting the tape library, but I was expecting a streaming service. So to have the whole company, a bit of surprise. But what I would say is that I'm not surprised at the same time, because this is great. And RH does have a place in the industry. And, you know, I just think Tony Khan is a fan of the day, and he wants the best to give to people as possible. We may not agree with everything that he does, but certainly I think a lot of things that he does, I think it's with the best intention overall.
May I ask you a question as well? Interesting note, Steve. I don't know if you're aware. So AEW, Tony Khan's dad owns AEW. ROH,
yes.
Tony Khan owns that solely. What do you think that means for ROH? Does that mean that Tony's going to put a lot more into it, or does that mean that he's going to treat it sort of better when it comes to it, maybe potentially?
Interesting question. We'll have to wait and see how it will play out. Maybe we'll get a battle of the Khans at All Out. Who knows? It could be a street fight like WrestleMania 17.
I love the throwback. Actually, it could be Khan versus Khan, and the winner gets a seat to Fulham, like a Fulham match or something. Can you imagine it? Wouldn't they?
Exactly.
A different tangent. There we go. But no, absolutely. Definitely, it's exciting news though. I think it's I really like the whole way that it's just a feel good story, and going into the pay-per-view weekend. Last thing I'm going to ask you, Steve, as well. Do we see some sort of? Do you remember WrestleMania 17 when we had the WCW wrestlers in the box at the Sky Dome? Do we see some ROH talent there in the background on Sunday? That's the last thing I'm going to ask you.
I'd love it. See Jonathan Gresham and, Ian Riccoboni and, we've got the Briscoes as well. And as we said in the stream, there's no doubt now it's got to be FTR versus the Briscoes at that Supercard of Honor show. Bandito could be there as well. There's so much talent that I know AEW would have wanted to have signed as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's all going to play out and how it's going to work going forward. But yeah, I think that's a great shout. I'd love to see it happen.
Yeah, I would as well. I think it'd be great as a nostalgia. I think it'd be really, really good. And definitely, it's exciting, man. But no, thank you very much, obviously, for having me on again. It's been great to do predictions. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for having me again.
It's been great to have you on as always, Jonesy. And of course, we hope everyone enjoys the show. We've got 2 more comments we're going to throw up just before we end off the stream. D-Star, thank you for checking out the stream, says, I think Tony should have concentrated on growing the AEW brand. The tape load from ARH is the most important thing, though. I would agree, because obviously a lot of wrestlers from that. And obviously, as well, we said there, it helps with a streaming service. And I'm sure that's something they're looking for further down the line with all these shows they've got with Dark Elevation, Rampage. It'll be great for a streaming service and those pay-per-views. The AEW network, could it be a thing? We'll have to wait and see. And Underground says, MJF wins to elevate the world title, Double or Nothing. And at All Out, we get MJF versus Wardlow for the world title is his prediction. So, interesting stuff indeed. But Jonesy Chats Wrestling, go and subscribe to that channel if you haven't already. Jonesy, is there anything you'd like to say just before we close things off?
No. All I would like to say, my last thoughts, obviously, this is off wrestling. My thoughts go out to everybody in the Ukraine. I'm really obviously gutted with everything that's going on. And it's not appropriate for a wrestling stream, but my thoughts go out to everybody in Ukraine. I can only say my thoughts really, my sympathies really.
Absolutely. And I share those sentiments as well. It's awful what's going on at the moment. We wish everyone to be safe and wish everyone very best and hope that this does stop and ends quickly. But that's all from us anyway. Please like the video, share the video as well, subscribe if you haven't already. Drop any comments of anything we haven't discussed. Maybe you want to discuss in the chat. I can chat with you. I'm looking forward to interacting with you. Enjoy AEW Revolution 2022. And have yourselves a good one. We'll see you next time. All the best. Have yourselves a great one.
Take care, guys.